Meanwhile, more major safety concerns surrounding the country's water parks after a 10-year-old is said to have broken his neck and so died on a water slide in Kansas City Sunday. Reports say the 17-story ride hadn't been inspected since it opened 2 years ago.
There are no federal requirements for oversight or reporting as far as injuries or fatalities for this industry. It's up to the states and the local communities to really oversee these operations, these water parks, but it really is the responsibility of the water park operators to make sure every ride that they offer to the public is safe.
Now, the water park is expected to reopen tomorrow, but the verruched water slide will in fact remain closed. To discuss it all, CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman has been following this case and joins us now. And that, first of all, contradicts initially what we'd heard, that all the rides at the park were inspected every day. That was an initial response here, Rikki, but that is some damning news to learn.
Well, there are different kinds of inspections. There is the state inspection that is supposed to occur once a year, and then there's the general inspection that could have happened every day, where someone who works the ride makes sure the straps are there, makes sure that everything looks top shelf, but it's not like they're running the ride every day to look for every safety hazard.
This is the first death that has stemmed, again, from this specific water slide. Nothing tragic had happened there before. So from a legal perspective, first to the park, where does it stand right now?
Well, you're dealing with the park, you're dealing with the operators of the ride, you're dealing with the designers of the ride, you're dealing with a whole host of putative defendants. If there is a lawsuit filed in this case, and I would expect that there would be, what you're looking for is the two obvious theories. One is negligence. Just basic negligence, that you put out this ride, I'm going to call it a ride, this water slide, as safe for the public. Now, you don't ensure the public safety, but it should be reasonably safe. And at the same time, it should be designed to be safe. So that brings us to the second theory, product liability. How about the design? How about the manufacturer? And then I'm going to bring a third hook in here, because I think this is really important, Josh. It has been reported that originally, when this ride was set up to go, Guinness Book of World Records, 17 stories high, translate the name to insanity, that when the press got the notice, it was said that no one under the age of 14 was going to ride. Well, you have a 10-year-old boy. So what you're dealing with here is what happened to that requirement.
We also, with regard to liability, the water slide itself, from the very beginning, actually had its opening date pushed back repeatedly as a series of technical glitches were found. I do want to also show, we have some video of practice runs, essentially, that essentially involved big bags strapped in, approximating, we're seeing it here, approximating human bodies, and on a number of them, these bags in question were, as you can see here, either thrown or the ride itself, the car itself, ejected. What does it tell you about the reliability of the ride, and how might that be employed? Again, the series of technical glitches and frankly, evidence, videographic evidence to suggest that it existed.
Just watching that video again, it's actually breathtaking in its danger. It's horrifying. When you see one of the, I'm going to call it a car, one of the containers that would have held 3 human beings go off the track, you wonder how they ever got it right so that they could use it. However, we also have to remember that it's run here for 2 years. And no, they have never had a death. However, it doesn't mean that they could not anticipate serious injury. And when you put on a little bitty kid, you're really taking a chance. There had to be 54 inches tall for any passenger, and also a total weight of 400 to 550 pounds, meaning for the 3 passengers along the way. Well, I can't imagine, though I could be wrong, but I can't imagine that they're having everyone step on a scale before they get into the ride.
That little boy would have had to been going down with 2 very heavy adults, or
Yes.
heavier than average adults.
Heavier than average adults. And the fact, too, of his age, I mean, I look at children and ever-eager parents in amusement parks who really want to be able, particularly with boys, to give them that thrill that they want, that unfortunately this tragedy is going to weigh heavily on any parent who takes a child to an amusement park.
And again, as we heard, no federal oversight or requirements for the industry, up to the states, up to local officials, to keep tabs. It's also believed that in part, that's the reason that this specific water slide was in this specific place. That
Yes,
perhaps
indeed.
the lax standards of the state itself may end up coming to bear here.
There is no doubt. First of all, when you're going to build something that is going to be the tallest ever, that you want to know that you're going to be able to get it built and keep it running. So why wouldn't you look for a state that had the most lax, or much of the most lax regulations in the country? If it is really true that this water slide was not inspected since before its opening, that is sobering indeed. This is the type of case where we can look back to that poor youngster in Disney World with the alligator. Yeah. That you would think that this company, this water park, is certainly going to want to do everything they can to help this family. The sad irony in this case is, of course, the father is a lawmaker. Yeah. So this may be one of the few cases where, by virtue of the tragedy that this poor family has suffered, that perhaps the laws will change. But it would make me think twice. And I'm a big roller coaster person. I like roller coasters. I'm not so fond of water slides. But it would really make me think twice about any time I would get on a ride that appears to be inherently dangerous. And this was meant to feel that thrill. Yeah. So when you balance the thrill against the risk, I don't think the result is even close.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing I think everybody can obviously agree upon, the awful tragedy of the loss of 10-year-old Caleb Schwab. As always, Rikki Klieman, your insights are very much appreciated.
Thank you, Josh.